All right, so I've been searching the internet. I can't find a video about how to take the dash out of a Scout 800. I did read a little bit, and it looks like it's not that hard, but you know, if you're like me, kind of nice to see it happen. So I've started the process, and let's take a look at what I've done so far. This is my Scout 800. I'm in Bethel, Alaska. I pulled this about 150 miles down the Kuskokwim River 2 years ago from Antioch. Been doing a little work, put a new a new grill in, got new brackets. My son welded up for me for the bumper, so that'd be nice and sturdy in case I ever have to tow it. Plan is to get this thing running and ship it into Anchorage and drive it to Virginia this summer. So we'll see. But here's what we've done so far. Okay, so first I started by removing the Phillips head screws across the dash here. The ones that are downward, not these here. And then to get them out, because here in Alaska and the Delta, there's tons of silt, I took and cleaned out the inside of the Phillips head there using this little pick, you know, this guy. And just so the screws would seat down in there. It's a whole lot easier to take care of that now, instead of stripping one and then having to deal with that later. So took them all out, starting here all the way down. Next, we're going to start on these bolts that are under here. There's one up and under there. There's one up and under here. I'll show you what we're talking about. It is there, up and under the dash on the sidewall. There's one on the passenger side, and I believe there's one over there, but I'll have to go. Okay, that came out easy enough. 1/2-inch socket. Then I forgot to say that yesterday when I was preparing to do this, I removed the heater from here, 2 screws, 1, 2, and then it pulls off of the vent hole here. Removed my two vents and placed it in the back there, and it's all ready to go. I actually took it up. There's 2 more screws that separate this part from that part, and I removed those as well. And they're right there. So that gets us ready. This bolt came out. It's already feeling quite loose. There's definitely some firmness over there, so we're going to start over there now and see what I can get. There is the same nut right there, and then I think I'm probably going to be taking off this guy and that guy, and probably those 2 right there. We'll see. Okay, so I got those out. There were the one over here on the sidewall, the 2 here above the clutch and brake, and then the 2 here on the emergency brake. And they were these different that had the nut on the back washer. That's all behind the dash, and then 2 screws. Still feels firm. I believe there's a clamp on the steering column that has to come loose, and so we'll open up the dash there a little bit and see if we can see it. Okay, so you don't have to take the dash out, I don't think, to get especially to get these 2. So they're up and under here, I found. So they are. Let's see it right there, and back here on this side. Yeah, there you go. So it looks like those 2 are the clamp that clamp onto the steering column. So we'll get that out. Okay, so that's a pain. I got the dash open just to get a look, and in doing so I've unplugged a few of my lights, and I realize there's quite a bit of previous owner wiring in there that looks a little sketchy, as usual. So I'll take a look at that and I get it open, but the clamps are kind of difficult to get to. Lucky for me, I have this large previous owner ventilation system for the radio. So I can stick my hand back in there and get a 1/2-inch wrench on top of the bolt, and then come in from the bottom with a socket and loosen them. I've got one out finally. Seems to be working okay. Got to do the other. One thing about the dash that It really loosens up a lot when you take your finger back here, or I think it was a 3/4 inch wrench, and loosen up the steering cable, I mean the speedo cable, and then taking it off. So we'll see how it goes. Now the moment of truth. I got the 2 bolts out, got the nuts off. I did end up putting 1 screw back in the dash just to hold it in place while I was doing my work. When you start pulling on this, it starts pulling the dash. So we take it out and see what happens. Look out in there, what do we find? Anything good? Nope. Best thing I've found so far. Here. A perfect example of a rural Alaska shopping list. Barbecue sauce, ice cream, potatoes. Life was good that day for him. All right, so, yep, it dropped right down, and that should give me plenty of room now to put in my new electric windshield wipers. Bingo. So what did I learn? I learned that you probably do not have to remove the cluster to get to those nuts if you can get your hand up and over the top and put a 1/2 inch wrench on the top closed in. It'll hold it in place. That would be my guess. But I didn't know, so that's where we are. I learned to make sure you clear those Phillips heads from dust. I suspect there's other parts of the world that are just as dusty as it is out here. But it does come back pretty easy, do a lot of work. With it open like this, if that was back in there, I probably could work on most of my gauges from the backside here and then put it up when I'm done, which is what I may try to do. I want to get there's a little bend in it right here where the previous owner, I guess, had pulled on it at some time. It doesn't seem to have creased it in any way, but it doesn't screw up tight. Also could have been because there was 3 screws holding the whole thing in. The other thing would be helpful, if you take the transmission out, you have plenty of room to stand. Anyway, don't do that unless you have to. Anyway, there you go. That was me putting it together, or taking it apart to put in the wipers, and I'll probably throw a video on there of that too. Kind of new to this, so let me know.